Boom! I mean, I say a couple to the flex they represent for Wayne Global TV. There. So I say, you know the code in the Wayne Global TV is what fully blessed on the 90 days. So I say, yeah man, to the fullest. Yeah man, make sure them log in to Wayne Global TV. So I say, check it out. So I say, one cup of flex. So I say, Wayne Global. When you watch you know, feel my plan up and I try to put them on pan we head. But man, I live too long, them want Wayne Global fitted. To him juggle so smooth that them want him life for dread. I throw the bank I like the work, but we ain't all about the bread. We open up in the ears and no listen when we said, cause we lyrics them so smooth like the linen on the bed. Them one with a fall, we live in pan the edge, I must say true, make this them. We ain't Global TV, we are 90, and 90. Who judge a blessing, no man can get. My mother.
Cliff said, for telling us how to lose the election the 26th. I'm mad we come for mad out tonight, you know. I'm mad we come for mad out Tom Babsy and Tom Tavares. Because we're going to left Nesta for one another time. But we come for mad out tonight. And I go beg uno decide tonight, should I go hard or should I go soft? Because the way I plan to tear up Babsy tonight, dog na junk na go have none of our left to eat. Do I go hard or do I go soft? How me fi cheat Babsy tonight? Natalia say hard backside. How me fi cheat Babsy tonight? Cause Babsy irritates me, you know. Them say, wanna understand what I ask me fi do, wanna say, go hard pan Babsy. Hey, Jesus. If you don't know what I set up Babsy for tonight. If you don't know what I set, call Babsy Grange. That's the best thing I'm going to get. Open and say, be diplomatic. Lord Jesus. Yeah. Hey. Open. You lose tonight, you know. Everybody has said, go very hard. Go hard, Pam Babsy. Call the one other whore. Them say, go hard, Pam you. Call the one other whore to the front of the class. Because them use a sojourning word. Good evening to those on the X, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook. Good evening and welcome to Global Television. Thank you for joining us. Open 7 Thank you all for joining us. Good evening to my family members. Good evening to my community of parity. Good evening to all my subscribers, followers, my members, my supporters. Good evening to those in the chat. Good evening to those on the live. Good evening, all, and welcome. Thank you all for joining us on another program, The People's Point of View. And tonight, we are going to tie a horse to Babsy. Babsy used the sojourning word. And they come out with their integrities and their visions. Them come out with all of them something that, but defend. I wonder if Rhoda was in Parliament yesterday because to them not often put camera on her. I wonder if Rhoda Crawford was in Parliament. No, did see Rhoda. And if Rhoda was there, did Rhoda walk out because Babsy one did left in there. But that not going to save you tonight, Babsy. Who was Rhoda defending and whose behalf was Rhoda walking out? Just make that simmer. Gloria Morris, good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Elaine Turner, good evening. Good evening, Debbie Jarvis. Good evening and welcome. Natalia Freeman, real sweet. Good evening and welcome. Shaletta Reed, good evening and welcome. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you all for joining us. Monica Wills, good evening and welcome. Good evening. Sunshine, how are you? Good evening. Natalia Freeman, Lennox Reed, good evening and welcome. James, good evening. JP, good evening. Good evening. Shauna Smith, good evening. Good evening. Millicent Jones, good evening. Good evening. Paula Shelley, good evening. Yvonne Green, good evening. The Easy Jerk World, Manners and Respect Bureau, good evening. Sasha Lewis, good evening. Good evening. Good evening. And welcome to Elaine Turner. Good evening to Yvonne Green. Good evening. Good evening, Shaletta Reed. Good evening. Open, good evening. Good evening. Annie Jones, good evening and welcome. Beulah, good evening. Good evening. Good evening, JP. Good evening. Norman Ferguson, good evening. Rosemary Samuels, good evening. Raymond, good evening. When I say Anthony, I'm in the same fan with you. Beat and teach, good evening. How are you? Good evening. Good evening. In a circle, good evening. Shauna Smith, good evening. Good evening. Big Bossy, good evening. Sharon Pearce, good evening. Mary Messenger TV, good evening. The Sport Channel, good evening. Wayne Jones, good evening. Joyce JC, good evening. What should I do with Babsy? Because what me plan to do with Babsy tonight now go so nice, so no, be careful what I get in. Careful what I get yourself in tonight. Because Babsy play the misogyny card, the sexist card, and the all sort of thing. How sexism? And because Juliet a woman, all of them, that question was asked. How that compares to say is another female she take over from. When you listen to the way how them are going, Mark Golden is attacking Juliet because she's a female. Colleen Humphreys. How we get down the road of sexism or sexist or whatever them call the word or the misogyny or the whatever. How we get down the road. Why nobody can speak to the issue? And I wonder why everybody run out to defend Juliet. So, why everybody run out and defend Juliet? Because the plan to stifle Mark Golden debate yesterday. Because some Jamaicans, especially the Labour Party, Diane Atkinson, don't understand what on do to them democracy yesterday. Jamaicans will just let it fly. People like me don't let those things fly. You understand? Because it's a threat to my democracy and my Jamaican foodie. Good evening. So I see them try to make it look like marker this and marker that. But let me tell you something, Babsy. You know when to talk and who to talk to. You know say guardrails out here these days. Where you get integrity from for talk, Babsy? Where does Babsy Grange? Because me not bright like Carlos. Beulah, good evening. Me, Amazing Grace, good evening. Me not bright like Carlos. We're going to sit down and read on a disgrace. We're in a WikiLeaks. Me not bright like Carlos. Me come from Coronation and Mandeville Market. Pamela McNeil, good evening and welcome. Uno from Jamaica Labour Party. If me talk to the PMP, then me will do it. Me will notch it up. Because them understand notching it up. But literally, even just look on the last election campaign. When we talk to JLP, we have to dig hole, get bucket, throw water, prepare your mud to roll with them. This is the only way you can communicate, Starboy. Good evening and welcome. This is the only way. Wanna now hold me back tonight. If wanna make me attack Babsy tonight. These people come out, come make it look like them have integrity. And if you notice the tone of Nesta, Babsy, and the criminal Tom Tavares. The Tom Tavares were plan up with Juliet Wellness to make Juliet Badman police them shot him grandson, father. Yes, criminal Tom Tavares. Because it was becoming an embarrassment to your family. And when him and Juliet are war over contract, you see the part just to come in and assist and get the kill done. Yes, when you come sue me. I know how to do the legal dilly-dally. When you don't have a penny figure, when I can't go through all the legal wrangles. When you don't have a penny figure. Georgia Dennis, good evening and welcome. Look pan who come out attack. Tom Tavares Simpson, the president of the Senate for Jamaica, the illustrious attorney, Violet Watson, who assisted in the murder of his grandson, father. Come sue me, Tom Tavares. Andrew Holness, we're going to let you till liquor on, but we know so you always visit Cliff Hughes. Cliff Hughes, New Year's Eve orgy parties. We know Andrew Holness. It is said you've been seen there on your knees before. You should tell us doing what, Prime Minister? But call whoring Babsy. Call Babsy. Where everybody, if the whole of them man dingaling was crayon with no under Babsy would have been multicolored. Oh no one tell me if you do Babsy, good dark and coronation from Babsy tonight, you know. Which young boy in a one order no fuck you, Babsy? Which criminal element in a one order no bed, Babsy Grange? A two criminal, you rent car again, them kill them in the car them where you buy a rent give them, you know. Alison Hamilton, head teacher K, good evening and welcome. All right, beat and teach them if you go easy pan Babsy. Come out if you tear up Babsy tonight. Come and say Babsy come out and go on like she has somebody. Me see the criminal element I use sexism and misogyny. Let me tell you something, Babsy Grange. A weak woman hide behind that. You know why you can't hide behind it? Because you're not one of the woman, Babsy Grange, who work your way up. You bed your way up from Siaga to Western Kingston, man. And now in your old age, Babsy Grange. A one other man, them a jack you up. A one other man, them you buy gun and rent car to control political constituency, Babsy, because up your so you don't have it. Careless girl. You don't have it up your so. When you not putting yourself in our political spheres, you know, you don't bother things on a gender and age. Protect you know, especially criminal element and political prostitute like you, Miss Grange. Don't come out and talk here like you somebody. Make the whole of we act like the pigs we are. Lilith Foster, good evening. But don't come out here, Miss Grange. Nancy, Babsy. I can't go high and low at the same time. Don't do it. Don't come out here and act like you don't have integrity. You don't fall short of it. How much dealings you and James Roberts in a Babsy? How much shady dealings is Babsy Grange in? with James Robertson. What happened yesterday was disgraceful. And motherfuckers, you should hide your head on that desk and rather come out attack and I try hide behind sexism. I want to go on like Mark Golding as sexist. Uno a criminal. Uno a whores and robbers and prostitutes. Uno illegal gun smugglers. Don't come out here in front of it. Come go on like somebody. We know you as leader of gang, just like how WikiLeaks know you as a gang leader, Babsy Grange. That's what you are known for. WikiLeaks provide the evidence to back it up. Yeah, Dan gal a Spanish town. So how you come out in a public, come talk? Every little boy in a one other fuck Babsy. Every little boy. Every little boy in a one other gang. You can't come shoot me, you know. If you don't waste more than one bullet per me, you're not careless. I'm not a bent shooter. You're not supposed to do it with one bullet. One. Don't take more than one if you're not straight shooters. But people like Uno can't come out, come mislead the public. After Uno create on a mess and on a blunder. After Uno disrespect the nation. Did anyone see Rhoda in Parliament yesterday? It's interesting to know if Rhoda was in Parliament and if Rhoda walked out. Who was Rhoda defending? Who was Rhoda defending yesterday? But make we look back at where start the war. Because we have to keep reminding people who and what start the war. This is a war for the life of the nation. This is revolution time. And revolution don't fight in a jacket suit and high heel and speaky spokey. This is a battlefield war mode. Okay? Battlefield war mode. Revolutionary war mode. Your government yesterday did something that has never done in so-called independent Jamaica. Shut down the debate in the highest debating floor in the country. The debating of your business, how your money will be spent. In our political debates, it's not about debating to make the other side feel good, feel comfortable. Your argument mustn't appease the other debating side. Your job in a debate is to make your argument. And because they don't stem over there, so don't know, their job is to come and make their argument and rebut whatever from your argument they want to rebut or give their different opinion on, or whether they agree with that or disagree. That is the classic type of debate we saw from Mark Golding yesterday. Policy breakdown, strategies and implementation guided. That was too much for those who only know how to higgle. That type of policy argument, no disrespect to higglers, that type of policy argument was way too over the head of the Jamaica Labour Party. They weren't understanding a thing. You just have to look at the face of the Prime Minister in Parliament yesterday evening. He wasn't understanding a thing. The argument was so well policy drafted, strategically crafted, and well explained by an astute attorney. The truth that comes with it, the good governance cry that comes with it, ruffle the feather of those who lack understanding. Those who have never put policy implementation in Jamaica, the ticks and the vampires who suck the policy blood of the People's National Party. Look back at the Michael Manley era. A lot of the rights we enjoy, the women rights, employment rights, the housing and all of them policy then, infrastructure development, are Manley's policy. Social democracy policy. Socialism policy. The only thriving policy the Jamaica Labour Party have instituted in our country is the policy of crime and violence. You cannot give them anything other than that. They have nothing else under their belt except for crime, corruption, violence, and nepotism. How can those people, Babsy, gang affiliated in WikiLeaks, Horace Chang, gang affiliated in WikiLeaks. I have voice recordings from police where talk about Horace Chang criminal behavior and gun smuggling and gun distribution in our country, from Montego Bay to other garrisons in our country. Yes, those same things who come out and are going like them have integrity. Who them people are be? But it's a tribal mindset. It is the tribal mindset that causes things like this. Andrew Holness and Paula Llewellyn is the worst thing that has ever happened to independent, democratic Jamaica when it comes to good governance, rule of law, and your rights. Paula Llewellyn and Andrew Holness is the worst thing that has ever happened to Jamaica. The Jamaica Labour Party, in its CIA creation, were never designed to benefit Jamaican people. It was a design to make sure that Western imperialism still holds the economic and political power in Jamaica. The only way I make you see Andrew and the Jamaica Labour Party and the Americans at odds at the moment is because of Andrew political prostitution with the Chinese. But the Jamaica Labour Party was designed by the CIA and the Americans to continue the suppression of a so-called free or independent post-colony. But who wanna now wake up? So we just a sleepwalk into the new control that is coming. Although a lot of people don't realize the power we want to get to Andrew in a 2020. how dangerous it is, but not only that, how dangerously he has used it against you in the last 3.5 years. And he has another 1.5 years to use that against you ruthlessly, especially that he knows that he will not be returned to government. But as I said, make we look and we start the war.
Has always been committed to fulfilling these ideals, and we will translate these principles into tangible actions that uplift and empower every member of our society. Mr. Speaker, we are in an increasingly low trust environment. Since the JLP government came to office in 2016, no less than 8 ministers have been forced to resign or have been otherwise sanctioned for a range of serious breaches, and Jamaica continues to rank poorly on international corruption indices. The move in 2020 to take away the chairmanship of most parliamentary committees from the opposition has weakened that mechanism of holding government to account. The maneuvers to delay the tabling of reports from the Auditor General and the Integrity Commission remains a contentious matter, especially since the legal opinion on which this delay is purportedly based has been withheld from parliamentarians and the wider public. When the former Speaker was forced to resign as a result of an Integrity Commission investigation, the move to replace her with the wife of the Prime Minister, so that the head of Parliament is now the spouse of the head of government, really it does not sit well with the Speaker must act independently of the government of the day. The Speaker
Yes,
is independent and must act independently of the government today. That is the tradition. That is the tradition.
But let's move over to the most powerful part of yesterday's presentation from an exceptional leader.
But I'm told that the DP is dragging the feet on this. The Kroll forensic report, which has cost taxpayers millions of dollars, was delivered to the government months ago. It must be released to the public so we can see what the findings are. Jamaica will not accept the cover-up of this shameful debacle, which has tainted our country's reputation as a safe and well-regulated place for Jamaicans at home and abroad to save and invest. In fact, a commission of inquiry into this SSL scandal will be needed. Jamaica is crying out for change in this area. This is why I have identified an entire cluster of portfolios within our own governance structure to address the now desperate area of transparent and accountable governance. We must translate good governance principles into tangible action that restores trust and confidence in our leaders and preserves our cherished freedoms and democratic way of life. Change means no more hiding of the truth from Jamaicans. Change means no more deception in official public communication. Change means putting transparency and communication at the heart of good governance. It affirms that respect is due to those who elect governments and pay taxes. That's why we will implement a comprehensive strategy centered around engagement and accessibility. Our aim is to ensure that every voice is heard, to bridge the gap between leadership and the people. This means holding town hall meetings, physical and virtual, to give every citizen a voice in the decision-making process. It means conducting community walks, listening to the concerns of our constituents, and working together to find solutions. It means providing regular progress reports on projects and programs and keeping the public informed and involved every step of the way. Change means practicing accountability as a central principle of good governance. That's why, after the terrible incident of the woman being beaten in public with a stool, I tabled an impeachment bill in the House of Representatives in 2021. to provide a mechanism to hold to account any parliamentarian whose egregious conduct brings his or her office into disrepute. Despite this having been a manifesto promise of this JLP government from the 2016 general elections, my impeachment bill has not been allowed to go forward to a joint select committee for wide stakeholder consultation and then be passed into law. They don't believe in accountability. When I entered the political arena, there were some entrenched ways of doing things. Making change happen requires a fresh approach. Things will be very different under my watch because I will tolerate none of it. The last PNP administration put local government in the Constitution. We passed the 3 strategic laws to modernize the legal framework of local government in keeping with modern best practices. One of those laws, the Local Governance Act, makes provision in Section 18 for the recall of an elected mayor, and it may be initiated by an alleging a charge of gross misconduct or dereliction of duty, and it has to be signed by at least 25% of the registered voters in the city municipality. The next PNP government will institute a fair and balanced recall system for elected officials, both at the local government and parliamentary level, to deepen accountability and empower the voters with recourse where they are badly let down by whoever they elect to parliament. Change means not taking away the rights of the people of Portmore without proper consultations with them, followed by a referendum to let them make the decision whether or not they want to give up their city municipality status and their right to directly elect their mayor, a right given to them by the People's National Party. Jamaica has spoken, and the PNP has listened to the concerns of the people. We are offering solutions based on thorough research and consultation with our stakeholders. We will embark on this journey together with the people towards a future where opportunity for advancement is not a privilege, but a right for all. We commit to good governance for the people of Jamaica, not as some abstract concept, but as a living promise fulfilled to every citizen of our nation. We are on a fast track on the road to change, and we invite all Jamaicans along this exciting journey in a spirit of hope for a better and brighter future for all our people. And I would have ended, thank you, Madam Speaker, but I hope you allow me not in the Parliament.
Another piece of powerful utterance from Mark Golden was at his headquarters yesterday evening after they finished that speech. Should I play that before? No, let's listen to Mark Golden before we listen to Cliff's opinion.
Today was a sad day for our democracy in the sense that for the first time, the government in Parliament walked out during a budget debate and prevented the leader of the opposition from completing his presentation, denying the Parliament of a quorum, so the Speaker had no choice but to end the proceedings. And I, as leader of the opposition, was unable to finish my presentation. I didn't say anything offensive about anybody. I made a point of principle, which is that it doesn't sit well with the tradition in our parliamentary system, which requires the Speaker of the House to be independent of the government, for the wife of the Prime Minister, who's the head of government, to be the Speaker, which is effectively the head of Parliament. And these concerns are not just my concerns. Many Jamaicans feel that way. It's really a very unusual situation. And indeed, the Prime Minister, who in an emotional fit stood up and walked out and precipitated the situation which brought the proceedings to an end, really himself reinforced the validity of the point I was making, that there needs to be proper independence between the Speaker and the government, and by virtue of them being spouses, there is none. That was the point I was making. And her conduct, Mrs. Holness's conduct, has given rise to concerns by not tabling the reports of the Auditor General on a timely basis as they arrive. There are reports which have been, I'm told, reached Parliament from January, which have 2 Auditor General performance audit reports that have not been tabled. By determining that certain reports of the Integrity Commission must be sent to an oversight committee within Parliament, which is dominated by the government side and chaired by the government side, before those reports are tabled and made public. These are issues of grave concern to me, as somebody who believes in the parliamentary system and in democracy, and indeed for many Jamaicans. So this is why I thought it was essential to make this point in my presentation. And the reaction of the Prime Minister to it reinforced my concerns. Furthermore, Mrs. Holness has refused to make public or even share with us as members of Parliament and senators the legal opinion which she claims justifies the position she's taken. If that is the case, then why isn't she sharing it with others? It wasn't given to her in her personal capacity. It was sent because it concerns matters affecting Parliament in a very fundamental way. To deprive the Parliament of the benefit of that legal opinion is itself an egregious act, inconsistent with transparency in the way we conduct our parliamentary affairs. What I believe happened was that when the speech was shared in Parliament and the Prime Minister saw the points that were coming after the point I was making, he decided to take this action because he didn't want me to have the opportunity of making those points in Parliament in front of him. And what are those points that I'm referring to? The next point I was going to make was that the illicit six, which is a matter of grave concern in the country, is another instance where governance in Jamaica is being brought to a low ebb, where 6 MPs are under investigation for illicit enrichment. And the Prime Minister not only has declined to make public who they are, but has put a gag order on his cabinet forbidding them from talking to the media on any issues relating to the Integrity Commission. And the point I was going to make after that was that the Prime Minister, as head of government, cannot be in a situation where he is not in good standing with the Integrity Commission of the country. He has failed to have his statutory declaration certified. And that statutory declaration lists his assets, his liabilities, and his income. And for successive years, the Integrity Commission has not certified and published a summary.
That was Mark Golden, one of Mark Golden's powerful response from yesterday evening. Mark Golden is ready to lead our country. Our country needs to be pulled back in a way where it is benefiting us and not private sector and investors and thieving government's officials.
On Duke Street and completing his presentation.
But let's listen to Cliff. Because when Andrew Holness them not take note away, them listen to what Cliff says. And I know Nestor Morgan have been scouring social media from last night. But nothing, Nestor, will stop the tear down because Andrew disrespect we over him kill this girl over there, so and them are gonna feel the wrath. It's as simple as that. But listen to Cliff.
On Duke Street and completing his presentation. Yeah. Not only completing his presentation, but having that media briefing after. Politically, he won the optics. He won the optics politically. Yeah. This photograph on the front page of the Gleaner this morning. Yes, it's all over social media. This photograph of him on the outside of the Parliament, completing his presentation, is a political winner for him. The optics look good politically for him. Who's very confident, assured, and is no longer second-guessing himself. Mark Golding showed yesterday that him around the place. Him around the place. He has the political wind behind his back. And the government will have to do a reset. It will have to do a reset. The strategy of the People's National Party over the last 2.5 years to target Andrew Holness continued yesterday, because when they went after Juliet Holness, they're also going after Andrew Holness. And the Labour Party needs to sit down and first of all recognize that politically they lost on February 26. They lost. And they have to wheel and come back. They have 1.5 years to do so. You know, just getting this.
May clip the part on the wheel and come back. Pack up and go on. Pack up and go on. It takes Mark Golding budget presentation. One of the greatest budget presentation of my time. And imagine it is not coming from a sitting leader. That's the type of budget you would want to hear from young visionaries like Nigel Clark and Andrew Holness. But me hear the dunce Arbin Hill, if you put him in a bucket of rock together, the rock them would move before Arbin Hill. It's talking about Jamaica economic prowess. And Jamaica, I get known as, Lord Jesus, these people when they're ready to talk, they same thing them on mainstream TV. And our Jamaica media, when you make me start, you know, when you don't make me start, when you have a way of not challenging the nonsense them when them talk them. Because it's same way so we're there. Dennis Meadow turn up in front of big yard journalists. But so Dennis Meadows never in a wedding frock or have ultrasound or new car. You never see it necessary to probe further of the crimes Dennis Meadows was alleging to you. It just fly over your head just so. A big part of our problem with governance. You see your media people, with media job is to hold government to account. If them do something good, you hold them up and tell the public, say, that one you have somebody where do something good. But if them not do something good, your job is to go out there and literally tear them down. If you have to sleep at them doorway, forget to ask them a question as them bust the door to come out, that's what good journalists do. Them not have to answer your question. They may throw water after you. They may kick after your camera. That's what journalists do. Leave crooked politicians and public officials no place to hide. The problem, one of the big problems in our politics is that media house and political operatives are very close friends. Editors are the same old colonial structured mindset. Most of them, especially in the Glen and so on, are the same old white people them still in charge. The same old narrative setters still in charge. The same old imperialists what the Jamaica Labour Party joined force with still in charge. Ricardo Brooks, I think he is, that's his name, also said something which I want to bring to you because Andrew Holness think this was going to work for him and it backfired heavily against him. But let's listen to Ricardo Brooks' side of things.
For what it is. And so it's clear to me Mark Golding made a calculation. He made a political gamble yesterday. And you know what, Tana? All things considered, from start to finish, I think he won. After landing his blows in the parliament, he delivered an effective, fiery press conference at his West Kings House Road offices. That coupled with what was, in fact, an effective presentation on the floor of the House, which hit several important points up to the point of the premature termination, means Mark Golding won the day. He won on politics and he won on policy. Only the most uncharitable observer would seek to take that from him. And yes, there is no obvious distraction from the substance of what he presented. But is that trade-off fatal to his objective? I don't think so. Because what does he gain instead? He gains the opportunity to cast himself as a victim of government retribution and retaliation. He gains the opportunity to cast himself as a champion for the people silenced by a government that did not want to be criticized. That is a powerful political rallying cry. Again, yesterday was about politics, plain and simple. And we fool ourselves into thinking it was about more than that. And then in many ways, Mr. Golding was assisted in that yesterday by the reaction of the government benches. The walking out of the House of Representatives and the termination of the budget presentation of the leader of the opposition was simply wrong. Make no mistake about it. The opposition leader has the absolute right to be heard in the House of Representatives. That right is all the more amplified when he speaks in the budget presentation. That's the business of the Jamaican people. And no matter how intolerable the Prime Minister may personally find the comments, using the government's majority to effectively silence Mark Golding on the House floor was a profoundly undemocratic act. It played to the worst perceptions of this government. The Parliament is not the sole province of the executive. It ought not to be allowed to silence criticism it cannot withstand. What's more, the Prime Minister, come Thursday, will command the bully pulpit and will have a prime opportunity to respond to Mr. Golding in full. He will have his opportunity to rebut and rebut forcefully. It was therefore not necessary to set in train this unusual break with parliamentary tradition. Because in so doing, the government handed Mr. Golding the right to credibly say this is an administration that believes itself above criticism. Walking out was the wrong call. It was the wrong call as a matter of governance, and it was the wrong call as a matter of politics. And in Tono, while I have the greatest sympathy for the Prime Minister as a man not standing for his wife being attacked and bullied, there was no need for all the government members to leave.
This is where I record the part. Andrew Holness have no right to defend his wife in a freeway house. Are you carrying in our house, a freeway house, a some people house go? You say anything where you want say in your own house, King and Castle. A soil go. So you can't come in a freeway house I defend your woman. So me and Ricardo depart this. So Carlos Wagwan, Andrew McCann, everybody will jump on since me and rant. Good evening and welcome. But you can't come in with host and I tell we what we say to you. And I saw it go.
Such that the House could not maintain its quorum. That was an act of raw political retribution. We do not punish parliamentary speech in this country simply because it makes us uncomfortable. And we certainly do not punish it, of all places, on the floor of the House of Representatives itself. That's not acceptable. The bar is higher than that. It has to be. And so, when I take it all together, Tana, the 2-hour presentation, the walkout, the finishing the speech on Duke Street, the press conference at West Kings House Road, taken all together, Mr. Golding showed up yesterday. He had his moment. And there's just no two ways about that. That's what's on my mind.
Pack on a bag and go on. Mark Golding has arrived. Mark Golding is ready to lead. We are behind Mark Golding. As Cliff Hughes said, the political wind is behind Mark Golding back. And we are going to use our voice to continue to propel Mark Golding and the People's National Party. Enough of honor, time come. We can't have criminals running out, acting like them have integrity. We can't have whores like Babsy, who every young boy in a one order throw Babsy up against fence at night time. We can't have those people coming to us talking about integrity. We can't have Babsy we rent and buy car and gun, give young boys to go out there, go kill one another, talk about sexism. No, Babsy, we can't do that. Go on your back road, go get hitched up on zinc fence at night time. And them something that you used to from Siaga days. From Siaga to Western Kingston, man, to now one other man. Everything Babsy achieved in politics is by either the gun or our front. So because we don't have it up here so in our head, we don't come out behind. Babsy is not protected by age as a politician, Marbury. If she wants to be protected by age, they have to act with dignity, decorum, and all of that. But as long as them put themselves in our way, cause Marina Wagwan, we will drive over them, reverse, drive over them, reverse, and then park upon them. And we're not just going to leave them like that. We're going to pick them out from under the wheel, piece by piece. So when you get into politics, Marbury, you are not protected by age or gender if you're not doing your job well. Babsy is a criminal. Babsy is a whore. It's known about Babsy from the days of Siaga. So if you come out here and I play the sexist card, don't do it in front of me, my girl. Not do it in front of me. Everybody knows say you're back road, Babsy. Everybody knows you don't have no integrity. It's people like you who use on the front Babsy Green to climb the ladder. Hide behind the sexist argument when people talk. Don't do it in front of me. There was nothing sexist about Mark Golding's questioning yesterday. Nothing. It was, in fact, the discussion where we have out here. every day. As something where we roll in a dot and quarrel over. So holy power they a jump and a hit the roof when we hear Mark Golden attack on them things them. Because of them things that we are mourn and murmur over every day. Say, look all the fool them and give you so much for you take them on and you not do nothing with it. But you cannot stand up to truth. You cannot stand up to policy. So you just have to do. You have to understand in the comment. Me know. You have to understand. Say I'm addressing Jamaica Labour Party members, and they're only going to understand the Duns ghetto market life. So I have to communicate with them. If me they communicate with people who have better IQ and understanding, then, but one must remember at the labor right them may I talk to. But on a serious note, not even as somebody who have endorsed or will be supporting Mark Golden's bid for the next leadership of our country. But at no time in our history should one political party be given so much power. That alone kills your democracy. It is that very power that you see the Prime Minister use to pushes everything through, whether the opposition agrees with it or not. Politically on numbers, they cannot topple the Jamaica Labour Party. It was the same numbers game that Andrew Holness played and Mark Golden yesterday and silenced one of the most powerful debate speech we've ever had in our parliament in a very long time. A budget speech which was fully policy centered, a budget speech that you would expect to hear from the government. You would have expected to hear that from Nigel Clark last evening. That budget speech rattled the feather of the government, particularly when Mark Golden gets to the area of good governance. Why does good governance get under the skin of the Jamaica Labour Party so much? Why is there so much currently? That's to do with accountability. The Jamaica Labour Party is hiding and pushing back on them. You, the people who support the Jamaica Labour Party, the tribal mindset of the Jamaica Labour Party. I know every party have their political supporters. But do you understand the consequences? Andrew has breached our democratic rights and principles many times since 2020. But do you understand what Andrew Holness did to Mark Golden and the people of Jamaica yesterday? The dictatorship, if you have not seen it or believed it before yesterday, was glaring in front of us. Because what your government badness, as Shauna says, did yesterday was use that majority vote that you gave to them, and they use it to shut down one of the most important democratic debate we've ever had in Parliament in a very long time. We have never heard such crafted policy, social democracy policy. Policies sound like Michael Mandela whisper to Mark Golden when he was crafting them. That was what the Prime Minister and the entire fleet of the Jamaica Labour Party walked out of the House on, knowing that their number majority can shut the speech down. Good governance mustn't be spoken about in our House. This is what your government and the Jamaica Labour Party was saying to you yesterday. In this House, if you're going to speak to us, listen to Nesta Morgan, listen to Babsy Grange, listen to Tom Tavares, we join up with Juliet and use them badman police them to kill the grandfather of him son. Because him there bring too much embarrassment to the family. So the minute him and Juliet get in a war over contract, Tam Tavares and Juliet Holness move in and do the kill. What the boy name again? Don't tell me what the boy name. Tam Tavares' son-in-law. What him name? But I don't know what I want there. That is what happened yesterday. The most important debate was shut down. When was that? The head roll of you. Natalia, Andrew head soon reach down there. Trust me. Because he's pushing the nation. Dog power. With Juliet Holness and Tam Tavares killed. So we have to back up one another. You understand? Because the whole of our partner in crime. A long time me I tell you say, Horace Strong and Everett Warmington when the debacle as to who take the reins of the People's National Party when Bruce Golden have to go. It was a gun war between Darrell Vaz and Darrell Vaz did in the shark camp. And Warmington and the gunman down a mobile the Chang did in a Andrew camp. And go here Warmington talking with you. So when the viper them, him protect him from the viper them. Which viper them your team attack? Who did want kill Andrew Holness? Darrell Vaz. You understand? So the whole of them willing to kill them one another for political opportunity and political position and kickbacks and contract money. Because of them something they make Juliet Holness and Tam Tavares Simpson kill Dog Pa. Because Juliet want the contract for herself. You don't come sue me. Because I think me afraid of lawsuit. You can't sue me. I'm not afraid of lawsuit. But what I go get? After I no waste the legal fee come after me. Where you go get? That you know to talk. But what happened yesterday? Your democracy was attacked violently by your government. A government who gave themselves 300% pay rise. They attacked your democracy yesterday. That same government who pulled out from under bed for free speech attacked your democracy yesterday. You see, in a dictatorship, the opposition, when you the people can speak, the opposition is your guardrail. In a dictatorship, when you the people cannot speak, the opposition leader is your guardrail. And when your opposition leader is shut down, In the debate, the most important debate that set out the spending for your country and how the spending is going to be prioritized for the infrastructures and services of your country. Do you understand what happened yesterday? I mean, I said, no. What do you think? Hey, them something that happened in Britain. Police will arrest Holy Power in Westminster Square right now. If this happened in Britain, police would arrest a lot of us in Westminster Square because we would there gather them. And I tell the government, say, this is our right. This is our democracy. It is the right of our opposition leader to question the government on any decision that the government takes. The opposition leader now have a skirt round, no issue when him talk to the government about our business, racha deal. That's why they're protected by a thing called parliamentary privilege. They say, well, we can say, and they are protected from defamation. All Andrew had to do yesterday is get up and go toilet. Him wife regularly, when she no want to hear things, she get up and she go out and she asks little boy there to come take the chair for her. All Andrew did have to do, go toilet, run bar or something and make the people's business continue. Jamaica has created history. It may have happened before, but I've never seen an opposition leader forced to give his debate speech on the street side outside of Parliament. Remember, this is the same government that ram radio constitution to give a DPP lifetime. A DPP that the Supreme Court has just found, along with her and the judge, breached the fundamental right of Vybz Kartel and his co-accused. But you also heard from this DPP, a long time may take conviction with tampered jewelry. What is on a problem? Them something they are norm for we. As long as we get the conviction and it go on with CV, so we convict XY person, we always get a conviction. That's what prosecutors work towards. So when you have somebody like Paula, who doesn't care or respect the Constitution or your rights to liberty, your rights to fair trial, due process, rule of law, them don't have no regards to them something there. Andrew Holness and Paula Llewellyn is a danger to your democracy, a danger to your liberty. Because if a prosecutor is willing to go along with tampered evidence, tainted juror, that is very dangerous for your right to liberty and your right to a fair trial. Very dangerous. A government that has the majority, to change your constitution at their will, legislation by the working day, we've seen it. Legislation in the dead of night. We've seen it. Undemocratic ways of policing declared by the court. We've seen it. The militarization of our police force. We've seen it. Does Jamaicans have a plan to counter all of what we're seeing as a risk to our democracy? Or we're going to just sit down and suck up it so and take it so? It's not looking good, people. And it's not going good so far. Are you prepared to give this government another 4 more years? Another 4 more years to do nothing? Another 4 more years to just stay there and continue to promise you the policies that they've promised you before that they did not implement and come back to promise you all over again, all because them know say we're fool. Wake up, Jamaica. Wake up. We don't have long left. Your government is going to sign new deals with the World Health Organization. Wake up fast, fast, fast. Because when that happens, we're not dealing with just Andrew Holness dictatorship. We're going to be dealing with dictatorship from the world bodies, but it's going to be enforced upon us by a despot autocratic leader. Wake up, Jamaica. We don't have long left. Wake up, Jamaica. We don't have a lot of time to spare. Wake up, Jamaica. We don't have a lot of time to dilly-dally about the place. Wake up, Jamaica. This is our last chance to secure economic, real economic and political independence. Wake up, Jamaica. You need to stand up and protect what your ancestors shed them blood for in order for me can sit down here so today and have a strong voice. There was one time we were not recognized as human by those who have the power to subject us to humanity. Wake up, Jamaica. Wake up. We don't have long left to play about. We have played enough. See where it is going. Yes, me know so hope I will like the lay and hope I will like the fun and game and the entertainment. We've had enough of that. It not take we nowhere. Make we look at a different angle. See it from a different perspective. Look at it with a fresh mind. If we continue to stay stagnant like this, it only going to benefit people like Alibaba and the 40 thieves who walk out of Parliament with him yesterday. Boycott the Prime Minister debate speech tomorrow. Call for the resignation of the Prime Minister and the Director of Public Prosecution. Or democracy is not safe with them. Our democracy is not safe with them. And tonight I want to end by telling you once more, wake up, Jamaica. We don't have time to spare. I want to thank you all very much for being here with us on Global Television this evening. At a glance, won't broadcast tomorrow because I have some appointment to attend to within those slots tomorrow. But join me back here tomorrow evening when we will continue the conversation about our freedom, independence, and our democracy. The fight continues. We have to continue from where our ancestors left off. We have to continue from where our ancestors left off, because what we have to do is to continue to build on what they left us with. So we make sure that future generations have it better than us, policy-wise, infrastructure-wise, service-wise. Thank you very much for being here with us on Global Television this evening. Your support is appreciated. Boycott the Prime Minister tomorrow, and Paula and Andrew must go. Good evening.